Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up guys, Megan Ross here, bringing you this week's Smackdown review, and this is a very special Smackdown review because it is Edge's 25 years of wrestling celebration. So let's get right into it, shall we? Grayson Waller is the one to open the show with the Grayson Waller effect, and he very much starts talking about, Edge's celebration, I can't wait for Edge to walk down and thank me for making him relevant again, and then tells, whoa, calm down Beth, I like hot mums anyway, when she was getting angry towards Grayson for saying that. But he was like, let's not bother about that now. Who's getting the Grayson Waller rubber effect this week? And he then introduces Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar walking down. You see that Santos Escobar has a very much large knee brace on his leg. So they are really playing into this as a legitimate injury potentially on his leg scenario. And that they're both walking down. You can see Rey is holding the US title and he isn't like co-holding it with Santos, anything like that. He's just running it as he is the champion with it. Waller states that, Rey, you're still a Hall of Famer, still making moments and still creating these highlights. And Rey says, yeah, it feels great to be US champion again. And Waller and Santos kind of get into it, and Waller's like, oh yeah, Santos, you can imagine what being like a US champion is because you didn't get your opportunity. And Santos goes on about how when Waller was listing off, say, oh, but let me picture this, Santos, you've been on the highlight of your career. You've been fighting so many of these individuals. You've been going against some of the greatest stars. And Santos is like, yeah, you included, about beating people to get this US opportunity. But then it was taken from you. And then he kind of says Rey was stealing this opportunity. That this is what legends do on SmackDown. They don't hand over the torch. They don't give those moments to the new champions. And Santos just shouts and says, look, listen here. I gave Rey my blessing because I have the utmost respect for him, which you have none of. And the only person I'm angry at is Austin Theory. And then he goes, yeah, you thought it was going to be you, didn't you, Waller? But like, once I'm all healed up, I can't wait to hurt Austin to cue Austin is walking out. It's another congrats Rey, and says being a 3-time US champ, but no Father of the Year award for you, so still playing into this whole Dominic Rey not being good family members together again. And just calling Santos weak, said he couldn't step up to the greatest US champion, and he's stating he demands a rematch, demands Adam Pearce to give him that US title back because it belongs to him. It doesn't belong to Rey because he was screwed out of it. Adam Pearce walks out, states that no one wants to hear you complain, Austin, and then an even louder pop happens because LA Knight's music hits, kind of cutting Pearce off. And LA Knight kind of like does apologize to Pearce. He's like, sorry, give me a moment. He's like, right, so I couldn't help but hear Austin Theory say he was the greatest US champion, and Austin Theory's like, yeah, I said that. Well, LA Knight's like, well, congrats anyway, Rey. I don't care who's standing here being champ regardless because it's going to come back with me soon. And then states, well, Austin's talking his smack. Everything's going on here. I'm interested to see where this goes now because I got an idea for you, Pearce. How about we make it a number 1 contenders match? Me versus Theory for the US title that Rey's holding right now. And Adam Pearce was like, you know what, that's a great idea. The only thing that would make it better is if you do it right now. So Adam Pearce makes the match official. It goes to start, and then The Miz walks out to come and watch this match. Basically playing into, hey, maybe I'll rock up to LA Knight's work and interrupt him and distract him like how he did with The Miz, which has now basically happened. The match goes back and forth. LA Knight does a really great elbow drop. We get some really cool power slams as well. Miz very much hyping up Austin Theory and just saying like, "Oh, you're the future," and just berating LA Knight, just being like, "You're flavor of the month. You're nothing. You're not as good as me." There's an interesting part where you have LA Knight slamming Austin Theory's head into the announce desk several times, and the Miz just keeps listing off and being horrible to LA Knight. To LA Knight kind of has enough and lobs Austin Theory into the Miz, which I thought was great. That spot needed to happen more. I will give props to Austin Theory in this match as well. I am kind of an LA Knight stan, so it will come across as biased, but we try and be unbiased in these reviews. So Austin Theory did do some really great chest stomps, had some really nice combos, and like responses back to when LA Knight was doing things. We had a really interesting A-Town Down was about to hit, but LA Knight counters it. It's a very nice DDT. Miz saves Austin Theory, which then costs LA Knight the match. And when I say it cost LA Knight the match, this really upset me because the ref only counted 2, and yet he claimed he counted 3. It was a 2 count, and LA Knight did kick out on the 2. And no one said anything. Adam Pearce didn't come out, correct it, nothing like that. It's like their time slot. They had to do it unless it was a planned spot. I don't know where this now goes because now Austin Theory gets another chance at the US title, so what's the point? It would have made more sense if LA Knight got the opportunity because that's a new contender. I know Payback is coming, so rematches are going to happen regardless. So unless this turns into a triple threat, who knows where this goes. But I am kind of just like soured on that moment. It should have done a lot better. The ref should have did the whole 3 count properly. It just came across bad and like poorly timed. But either way, we continue forward. We get several superstars sharing their stories with Edge, praising Edge as well, stating how good their matches were with him or what the reason they were, some of the matches that they really enjoyed of Edge, and just everything about him being the incredible man he was. We had an amazing clip of seeing such a young Edge asking Bret Hart, like, what suggestion would you give? Like, how would you get into the business? What things would you do? And just to see his start to his end, like, we even see the heartbreaking moments of the retirement, to then the return and the comeback. Just, it's a real tearjerker. And it really means a lot to a lot of us. We now have Damage Control walk out to start their match. Bailey and Dakota kind of stopped Damage Control's music though. It's like, oh, yeah, you guys don't get this often. You guys don't really know champions often from Canada. So how about we just give you our champion walk out and let Io Sky walk out with her own music, and she's in her fighting gear. So we know it's going to be Io Sky and Bailey tag teaming in this match. So Dakota Kai is still not completely cleared. She's just still ringside with them, which I'm fine with. It still gives Dakota Kai stuff to do. Still gives her on-time screen with Damage Control, so it makes sense. Bianca and Bailey are the ones to open the match. So it's Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair continuing on. Kind of after how SummerSlam happened, no Asuka to be seen, so it's quite weird. But that match goes on. So as said, Bianca Belair opened the match against Bailey, and we have some very interesting spots where Bianca kind of like overpowerlifts Bailey. A lot of quick tags were made from Bianca and Charlotte as well, so it was kind of like they're working well as a tag team, but also at the same time it's hot-headed. For them to quick go back and forth, who's going to be powerful in the ring type of deal. Then we have a lot of spots where Damage Control get the momentum back, stopping Charlotte on the top rope, and Io does an amazing Hurricane Rana face lock. And she tried to do what seemed to be like a pedigree setup to Charlotte overpowered that. A lot of back and forth counters, hot tags were made, really good clothesline as well was hit from Charlotte there. We had several like interesting spots where Bianca still has a sore leg that hasn't fully recovered, so the knee spiked it, which really slowed Bianca Belair's momentum down. But Bianca Belair did get the KOD and got the win. Charlotte's nose, interesting note, looked like it was bleeding from Io's kind of like facepalm uppercut she did, so I don't know if she just caught her awkwardly. But yeah, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair get the win. I wasn't really happy about that, but Io wasn't in the ring and Io didn't take the pin. Bayley did, so that I'm okay with. But this is kind of the momentum time you build Damage Control as unstoppable, because you've now got a champion in their team. You would build the rest of the team up alongside that champion to make them look dominant. So, weird booking choice, but what happens backstage next kind of makes more sense of why they let Bianca have the win. So the Street Profits are walking out after, and they mean strictly business. They've got whole new matching gear. It's not kind of like this basketball jersey type style. They've got more like this whole clear cut, more we mean business government style jackets, kind of like 3-piece suit style, but in wrestling gear attire, and I really liked it. And they go against the OC this evening. But just before the OC come out, we get the backstage segment of Bayley and Io Sky and Dakota Kai all chair-shotting Bianca as she's getting an interview, where it's like, oh, Damage Control have been like a hindrance to you, but it seems like you finally put it in the past with them. And then Damage Control jump Bianca, and then they do a really nasty chair spot on her already injured leg, where they stomp the chair to close down on her leg, and she just screams in pain. So I don't know if this is them booking Bianca Belair out for a few months, or they're trying to sideline her because they might be turning Bianca heel soon. Who knows? But it was a very interesting spot, especially because Street Profits are out in the ring, so it means Montez can't run back and check on Bianca. He has to focus on the match in front of him, and that he did. There was a menacing side to both of them in Street Profits. Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins really brought the power in this match. And I'm a Good Brothers guy through and through. Like, I love the OC, I love Bullet Club, and just they made the OC not look strong. They made Bullet Club look really weak in these moments, and they just overpowered them as best as possible. There was a great Montez taking flight, a really strong clothesline. There was an interesting spot when OC tried to get the momentum back. They tried to do a magic killer but couldn't because Carl's arm was still hurting, so they did an audible of doing like an improvised kind of style lift up DDT type of deal. Then they try and go for the magic killer when Carl finally gets the feeling back in his arm. They don't get it. Angelo Dawkins is in the ring about to get hit, but Montez sneaks a tag in, which I thought was fantastic how they did that. And the Street Profits get a win with kind of what looks like might be going forward a new finisher that they're doing, which is like a power-up bomb with Montez running in and doing a neck breaker on top of it, which looked damaging as hell. It was like, oh, here's the first part of you getting hurt, here's the second part. And it was just so clean to see. I really liked it. And they get a very quick and easy win. Get to the end of the ramp, and you see Bobby Lashley coming out and celebrating with them. So I don't know where they're going with that, because they very separated Bianca and Montez when they've kept the pair of them very on-screen lovey-dovey couple. So I don't know why Montez didn't check on Bianca, because he knew that happened and the match finished, so I'm not surprised he didn't run back. So unless they are really playing into the heel, where it's like he's now doing this a lot more and he's doing what he can, I'm more than fine with that. We then get Paul Heyman and Kayla doing a backstage segment talking about rumors. Kayla tries to get just generic questions of like, can you give us an update of the bloodline? Can you give us this? Give us that? Not saying anything. And then Paul Heyman just goes over talking about the rumours and was like, oh, I've heard rumours about your family. How's your mom? Spoke to her lately. You had one of your daddy-daughter dates lately. Do you want to talk about your cousins? I've heard things, but no, you don't want to talk about that. You don't even come over to talk to me about Edge and his career and my involvement with Edge throughout the 25 years. Oh, you don't even want to talk to me about Austin Theory, one of the newest future talents, against one of the guys that are a flavour of a month of that LA night. And, like, Paul Heyman looks really angry about this. So he gets a call. He's like, hello? It's like, someone says, Jimmy will be here next week. He's like, oh, good to know. Thank you. And then the phone's hung up. And Kayla's like, care to share? And he's like, yeah, I will actually. Jimmy's going to be on SmackDown next week. And he's like, who's your source? And he's like, oh, you'd love to know my source, wouldn't you, Kayla? But even I wouldn't be stupid to do that. So is this Rikishi getting involved? That's the only thing I can think that's getting involved now going forward with this, is that clearly wasn't Roman. And if it was Roman, Paul Heyman's in a lot of trouble. So we'll see where that goes. And I'm excited to see where it goes. We now get to the main event, which is the fight night of Sheamus and Edge, which I'm so mixed feelings on this, because it comes across like it's the final ever match for Edge. It comes across like the retirement, the video packages, everyone doing Edge's entrances, everyone thanking Edge. It just feels like it combined to, yes, it's his 25th year of celebration, but it also felt like it's the end of the end. You saw Sheamus having the emotion on his face that he has to do this, and his boys in Butch and Ridge hyped him up to go and do it. Edge walks down with probably arguably the most emphatic, hugest pop he's had in years. Like, it was so genuine. It felt like his Royal Rumble return all over again. That pop was perfection. And just, all the emotion was there. You could see how crazy the match would get. They both shake hands, and it was very interesting to see it go on that way. That they have the handshake. A lot of shoulder barges started this match. We see a lot of back and forth craziness that came out for them. You see an Irish curse on Edge very early on, and Edge looked really hurt in that moment, but he powered through. We get some really awesome spots of a 2 count, of a powerbomb off the apron that Sheamus took for Edge, which I was like, Jesus, that looked painful as anything, because it was straight onto the floor. Didn't hit the apron first, didn't hit the ring, straight, oh no, I'm throwing you off and you're hitting the ground. There was an awesome spot where Edge also did a running spear on the outside. We had some great parts of the 10 beats of the bow run that hit, Edge avoiding them and doing knee shots to Sheamus. To Edge then does get hit with another 10 beats of the bow run properly, and Sheamus is like, oh, I told you, I warned you, I didn't want to do this, I warned you how bad it was going to get. And Edge, on pure adrenaline, just kind of slaps Sheamus out the way. We get a superplex from Edge onto Sheamus. We get a white noise hit. We then get so many crazy spots of a bro kick out. Then Edge hitting the executioner, and that was kicked out of. And then it, as commentary said, which I thought was really unique here, was now the problem settles in, where the doubt was lying in this match of, can Edge do it? Especially because a spear was kicked out of, which that barely ever happens. As I said as well, there was an amazing spot of Sheamus doing a white noise into a Celtic cross, Edge doing a superplex into an execution. Or just the whole match was fantastic. And if this is Edge's last match, he went out on such a good high, because there was spot after spot, moment after moment, where everyone was like, oh my god, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? We had a very great spot towards the end where both of them really dazed on their last bits of adrenaline, each side of the ring. Sheamus is running to do a bro kick, but Edge just runs that bit faster, hits that perfect spear, and Sheamus sold it like he has been shot by a cannonball. Sheamus just ragdoll, drops to the floor, The 1, 2, 3 hits, and Edge gets his perfect win. You see Beth Phoenix, you see his daughters jumping, praising, clapping with joy. Also tears in Beth's eyes with a giant smile of just how happy everything was. And we end the night with Sheamus and Edge hugging. For me, it was a really emotional night. I've been an Edge fan for years, and just seeing they give him his flowers and giving him his dues, even though when he returned, even if he didn't defend as much people have wanted him to, even if he didn't have as many opportunities as he did, if this was the last match, he's like, I think I could pack it in now. I've ended on my terms. It's a good match to end on, especially in his hometown crowd. So who knows? We saw after it went off air that he said, I'm gonna speak to I'm gonna speak to Beth, see what we decide. But he has got the Percy Jackson TV series coming up, which he looks amazing in. He really looks in shape for that, to play a God of War character, and I'm really excited to see that TV series as well. So all I could say is thank you, Edge, for everything you've done in wrestling. It's been amazing to watch you. I hope you guys feel the same. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this SmackDown. But for me, it was a perfect SmackDown to give Edge his flowers and the respect he deserves, for sure. That has been me. I will see you all guys in the next review.